The Rohingya people are a Muslim minority group who have faced decades of persecution in Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. They are denied citizenship and basic rights, making them one of the most persecuted minorities in the world. The Rohingya crisis is a complex and tragic situation that demands international attention and action. For too long, the Rohingya people have suffered in silence, their voices unheard and their plight ignored. This essay will shed light on their story, exploring the historical context of their persecution, the horrific conditions they face, and the urgent need for a global response to this humanitarian crisis. The Rohingya people are predominantly Muslim, while the majority of Myanmar's population is Buddhist. This religious difference has been used as a basis for discrimination and violence against the Rohingya for decades. The Rohingya people have been subjected to systematic oppression, including restrictions on their movement, marriage, and employment. They have been denied access to education, healthcare, and other essential services. The international community must no longer stand idly by while an entire population is being systematically persecuted. We must demand accountability from the Myanmar government and work together to find a lasting solution to this crisis. The Rohingya people, who are indigenous to Myanmar, have a long and rich history in Rakhine State, which is located in western Myanmar. They have lived in this region for centuries, but their existence has been threatened by a narrative of otherness perpetuated by the Myanmar government and some elements of the Buddhist majority. This narrative portrays the Rohingya as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, despite historical evidence that suggests otherwise. The 1982 citizenship law in Myanmar effectively rendered the Rohingya stateless, stripping them of their citizenship and leaving them vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. This law has been widely condemned as a discriminatory measure aimed at marginalizing the Rohingya population. Without citizenship, the Rohingya are denied access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. This systematic disenfranchisement has created a cycle of poverty and vulnerability, making the Rohingya easy targets for discrimination and violence. It is a stark reminder of the urgent need to address their plight and restore their basic human rights. In August 2017, the Myanmar military launched a brutal crackdown on the Rohingya population in Rakhine State. This campaign of violence was characterized by widespread killings, rape, and arson, forcing hundreds of thousands of Rohingya to flee their homes in search of safety. The United Nations has described these atrocities as a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. The Myanmar military's actions were met with international condemnation, but these condemnations have not translated into concrete action to hold the perpetrators accountable or to protect the Rohingya population. The Rohingya refugees who fled to neighboring Bangladesh faced a desperate situation. They arrived at the border traumatized, exhausted, and with nothing but the clothes on their backs. The Bangladeshi government, already struggling with its own challenges, responded with remarkable generosity, opening its borders and providing shelter and aid to the Rohingya refugees. It is a testament to the brutality of the Myanmar military's campaign and the urgent need for accountability. The Rohingya refugees who fled to Bangladesh found themselves living in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions in sprawling refugee camps. These camps, while providing a temporary refuge, lack access to basic necessities such as clean water, sanitation, and healthcare. The Rohingya people, already traumatized by the violence they had endured, faced new challenges in the camps. The lack of proper sanitation and healthcare in the camps has led to outbreaks of diseases such as cholera and diphtheria. Children are particularly vulnerable to these diseases, and the high rates of child mortality in the camps are a cause for grave concern. The international community must step up its efforts to provide humanitarian assistance to the Rohingya refugees and to address the dire conditions in the camps. The Rohingya people in the camps are also at risk of human trafficking, forced labor, and other forms of exploitation. The desperation and vulnerability of the refugee population make them easy targets for traffickers and other criminal elements. The international community must work together to protect the Rohingya refugees from exploitation and to ensure their safety and security. The Rohingya crisis is a complex and multifaceted challenge that demands a comprehensive and coordinated response from the international community. The first and foremost priority must be to ensure the safety and security of the Rohingya people, both within Myanmar and in the refugee camps in Bangladesh. This requires addressing the root causes of the conflict, including the systematic discrimination and persecution faced by the Rohingya in Myanmar. The international community must exert pressure on the Myanmar government to end the violence and discrimination against the Rohingya people. This includes demanding accountability for the human rights violations committed by the military and security forces. The Myanmar government must be held responsible for its actions and must take concrete steps to ensure justice for the victims. The international community must also provide increased humanitarian assistance to the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. This includes providing food, water, shelter, healthcare, and education. The Rohingya people have endured unimaginable suffering, and it is our moral obligation to provide them with the support they need to rebuild their lives. The Rohingya people, desperate to escape the violence and persecution in Myanmar, have resorted to perilous journeys by sea in search of safety and a better future. These journeys, often undertaken in overcrowded and unsafe boats, are fraught with danger, and many Rohingya refugees have lost their lives at sea. The increasing number of Rohingya embarking on these dangerous journeys is a testament to the desperation of their situation. The boats used by the Rohingya refugees are often small and flimsy, ill-equipped to handle the rough seas and treacherous conditions. These boats are often packed beyond capacity, with men, women, and children crammed together in cramped and unsanitary conditions. The lack of food, water, and basic sanitation on these boats makes the journey even more perilous. The Rohingya refugees who survive the perilous sea journey often face further challenges upon arrival in their destination countries. Many are detained, exploited, or trafficked. The international community must work together to address the root causes of this crisis, including the persecution of the Rohingya in Myanmar, and to provide safe and legal pathways for those seeking refuge. Despite the immense challenges they face, the Rohingya people have not given up hope for a better future. They dream of a day when they can return to their homes in Myanmar with dignity and security. They long for a future where their children can live in peace and freedom, where their rights are respected, and where they are no longer treated as second-class citizens. The international community has a moral obligation to support the Rohingya people in their quest for justice and a brighter future. This includes holding the perpetrators of human rights violations accountable, providing humanitarian assistance to those in need, and working towards a political solution that addresses the root causes of the conflict. The Rohingya crisis is a test of our humanity. We must act now to end the suffering of the Rohingya people and to create a world where all people can live in peace and dignity. It is a call to action for the international community to work towards a future where the Rohingya people can finally live in peace, security, and dignity.